Hello, good morning. I welcome you all in this online lecture on poliomyelitis. Poliomyelitis, also known as polio, was a dreadful disease. Still, some cases are there, though most of the continents except Asia are freed from polio. The polio is still endemic in Pakistan and Afghanistan, although the number of cases have tremendously decreased. And you must have very well seen the polio cases are around you. In our hospitals, in some of the lifts, physically challenged people are working. Those all are suffering from polio in their childhood. And as a physiotherapist, you will be concerned about this disease of the partial paralysis of one leg or both legs. So, various combinations are available in the clinical cases and deformities. This is the polio virus and the picorna virus. Picorna virus is a smallest virus group. The largest is about 300 nanometer, and this one is 20 to 30 nanometer. So this is the smallest virus, and these are the virions. These small virions, spherical virus, naked virus. Naked means it is devoid of the. It is unenveloped virus. It does not have the envelope. You can see many patients. This just photograph I am showing you. This you can see this leg is emaciated. The muscle tone and everything has reduced very much. This one, the other leg is relatively healthier, relatively stronger, but then the whole person is crippled. Many such cases are still there who had polio in the past. Right now, some few hundred cases only are there, rather less than this, that some tens of the cases are still there, but it is not eradicated yet from the from the world. In India, it was eradicated in 2000, declared eradicated in 2014. The causative agent, we have seen that it is caused by picorna viruses. So picorna viruses are the Picorna viridae family, and they have got two major groups of the human pathogens: enteroviruses and rhinoviruses. Entero, as the name suggests, is related to intestine and is transmitted by fecal-oral routes from anus to mouth. The fecal contamination of the water and all leads to contaminated water and the food supplies, and then it goes into the mouth. Then it multiplies in the intestine, but it does not cause any intestinal manifestation. And they are associated with various systemic manifestations, and poliomyelitis is one of the important picornavirus enterovirus. Classification of the enterovirus: some more than 96 human serotypes of the enteroviruses are available. This is the distribution of various group of the viruses. Poliovirus, three serotypes are there: Coxsackie virus, A and B, Echovirus, Pericovirus, Enterovirus 68 and 72, and serotype 72 is now reclassified as hepatitis A. And then there are 34 newly identified enteroviruses beginning from the enterovirus 73. Then the second group of viruses, rhinoviruses. As the name suggests, they are transmitted by the respiratory route and they cause common cold. The morphology, it is a spherical virus, simple in structure, very small, 28 to 30 nanometer in size, non-enveloped, spherical shape and have icosahedral symmetry. In general virology, you must have seen that icosahedral symmetry of the virus is a very common symmetry. And the capsid means these structural components, this whole basic core structure, and is composed of the 60 subunits, and each one is comprising of the viral protein 1 to 4, VP1 to 4. You can see here, it is shown here, VP1, VP2, VP3, VP4. And it possesses single-stranded positive sense linear RNA. Resistance, it is important to know the resistant the organisms so we can control them. Enteroviruses are stable at acidic pH, whereas rhinoviruses are acid labile. But heat labile, all enteroviruses and some rhinoviruses are inactivated by heating at 55 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes, which is prevented by magnesium chloride. That means they are quite labile. They are very sensitive to heat. Heat can destroy them. Polioviruses of the enterovirus group, antigenic types. There are three antigenic types of the polioviruses, and the immunity is type specific. The immune response efficient in for the type 1 will not be effective in type 2. Type 1, type 2 and type 3. The representative strains of these types are the Brunhilde and Mahoney strain for type 1, Lensing and MEF1 for type 2, and Leon and Shockett strain for type 3. These are the most common serotypes to cause the type 1, most common serotype to cause epidemic, and only serotype that is endemic currently in the world. The rest are not there. Type 2 is most antigenic serotype, easiest serotype to be eradicated. So it was the first to be eradicated, type 2. No natural case of poliomyelitis caused by serotype 2 has been reported since 1999, and most common serotype found among the vaccine-derived poliovirus. In type 3, no natural cause no natural case caused by serotype 3 has been reported since 2013, and most common serotype to cause vaccine associated paralytic poliomyelitis. So these two are not there, this is only there. Poliovirus has got two antigens, C and D. D antigen, D is for stands for the dense. So dense antigen is associated with whole virion and is type specific. Anti-D antibodies are protective. Potency of the injectable poliovirus can be transmitted in terms of D antigen units. Then C antigen, C stands for the capsid. Capsid antigen is associated with the non-infectious virus. It is less specific, and anti-C antibody does not neutralize the virus infectivity. Now the pathogenesis. Transmission is fecal-oral, most common, or rarely by respiratory droplets via inhalation or conjunctival contact. They multiply locally in the intestinal epithelial cells, submucosal lymphoid tissue of tonsil and Peyer's patches. The receptor for viral entry into the host cell is mediated by the binding to CD155 receptor present on the host cell surface. So whichever cells are CD155 receptor containing, it is suitable for the viral entry and the host for the virus. Then there is a spread to the CNS or the spinal cord. It can be hematogenous spread, it can be neural spread. So hematogenous spread means the spread through the blood, which is most common. The virus spreads to the regional lymph nodes, spills to bloodstream, and this is known as primary viremia. And then there is multiplication in reticuloendothelial cells, and then enters bloodstream again. After the multiplication of the virus, the RES cells break and it enters in the bloodstream, and this is causing the secondary viremia. And then it is carried to the spinal cord and brain. The neural spread following tonsillectomy, where the virus may spread via glossopharyngeal nerve present in the tonsillar area, tonsillar fossa. So, it can go to the spinal cord and brain, or the through the glossopharyngeal nerve, it spreads to the brain and the spinal cord, and then the site of action is the motor nerve ending. That is the anterior horn cell of the spinal cord. In the spinal cord, there are two horns, anterior horn and posterior horn, right side and left side. So anterior horn cells of the spinal cord are most susceptible, and that leads to muscle weakness and flaccid paralysis. Flaccid paralysis means muscles are no more having their tone. Then degeneration is also there. There are degeneration of the Nissl bodies, which are aggregates of the ribosomes normally found in the cytoplasm of the neuron, and these pathological changes are always more extensive than distribution of the paralysis. So pathological changes are more than the paralysis is evident. Clinical manifestations. The incubation period of the polio is 7 to 14 days, and the manifestation may range from asymptomatic stage to most severe paralytic stage. Many percentages are there of the infection. Say, for example, inapparent infection or asymptomatic infection is in 91 to 96% of the cases. Abortive infection. Abortive infection means minor illness manifested by fever, malaise, sore throat, anorexia, and myalgia and headache in 5% cases. And then the infection the disease is cured almost. Non-paralytic poliomyelitis, where there is aseptic meningitis. This is around in 1% cases. So viral meningitis is there. Then paralytical poliomyelitis. This is the most dangerous one, and this is least common also, and it is about 0.5%, that is less than 1%. This is characterized by descending asymmetric acute flaccid paralysis, AFP, means from the upper muscle areas to it goes to the lower muscle areas, and it is asymmetric. On one side it is more and one side it is less, and there is acute flaccid paralysis. Proximal muscles are affected earlier than the distal muscles. Paralysis starts at hip. That means descending from hip to the toes. Starts at the hip, proceeds toward the extremities, that leads to characteristic tripod sign. What is tripod sign? Child sits with flexed hip, both arms are extended towards the back to support. The site of involvement can be spinal, bulbospinal, or bulbar. Either of the three or all the three can be involved. Biphasic course. In children, aseptic meningitis occurs first. Then recovery is there. Then return of fever with paralytic feature 1-2 days later. This is known as biphasic course. Cranial nerve involvements are seen, but there is no sensory loss. You can see the children having affected this leg. This is relatively less affected, and this is more affected. Thinning of the leg, and this deformity is there. This child is having the poliomyelitis in this hand. What are the risk factors which can aggravate the effects of the polio? The older children and adults, pregnant women, heavy muscular exercise, persons undergoing trauma at the time of CNS symptoms. Tonsillectomy predisposes to bulbar poliomyelitis. IV injection increases the risk of paralysis in the involved limb. Post-polio muscle atrophy syndrome. This is a kind of recrudescence of paralysis and muscle wasting. This is observed in individuals which occur decades after episode of paralytic poliomyelitis. This may happen 20, 40 years later too. Laboratory diagnosis. The virus can be isolated from some samples. These samples are throat swab, rectal swab, stool sample, or long-term excretion may be found in some of the immunodeficient persons, and recovery from CSF blood can also be there, but this is rare. There is periods of the up to what period the polio virus can be recovered. So from the throat swab up to 1 week, the polio can be recovered, and up to 6 to 8 weeks from the stool and the uh, and the rectal swab, and the longer periods are expected in the immunodeficient persons. Transport should be done in frozen state during the laboratory to the laboratory, or from the sample site to the laboratory. The primary monkey kidney cells is the best cell line to grow them, and cytopathic effects can be seen in 3 to 6 days, in which there is crenation and degeneration of the entire cell sheet. There can be, we can diagnose the growth of the virus by antigen detection, by neutralization with specific antiserum or immunofluorescence, or PCR assays available targeting VP1 region of the poliovirus. Then antigen detection can also be done. Rising antibody titer in paired serum collected with 1 to 2 week interval is recommended. Both neutralizing antibodies and complement fixing antibodies can be detected. Only first injection with polio virus produces strictly type specific responses. Subsequent infections produce antibodies against group specific antigen common to all three serotypes. So this is advantageous in the subsequent infections. Then molecular methods can be useful. Real-time multiplex reverse transcriptase (PCR) has been developed using primers from VP1 region. Detect and differentiate between various types of the wild and vaccine polioviruses directly from stool specimen. This is the choice method of diagnosis for the epidemiological and the research purpose. Now the vaccines. The vaccine role in polio is great. Because of the vaccines only, we are able to control the polio so much. There are two types of the vaccines: injectable or inactivated, and live vaccines or the oral polio vaccine. Both are available. The injectable is known as Salk vaccine also, and the oral is known as Sabin vaccine also, from the name of their discoverer. By far, the IPV, injectable polio vaccine, and OPV are the more common terms. OPV for the oral polio vaccine and IPV for the injectable polio vaccine. What are these? The injectable vaccine is formalin-killed preparation of poliovirus in monkey kidney cell lines. Total 80 units of D antigen of type 1, 40 unit, type 2, 8 unit, and type 3, 20, 32 units. This is the composition of the formalin-killed injectable Salk vaccine. Then the Sabin vaccine, each dose contains TCID50. TCID50 is the median dose of the tissue culture infecting dose, or the amount of the virus which is there in the dose in the vaccine. So in one dose there are about 3 lakhs of type 1 virus, 1 lakh of type 2, and 3 lakh of type 3. So 313 lakhs of the viruses type 1, 2, and 3. Now this can be tested by the markers, phenotypic marker and genotypic markers. In phenotypic markers, vaccine virus will not grow in presence of low level bicarbonate at 40 degrees centigrade and is inactivated by specific antisera. So if you want to grow them in monkey kidney cells at 40 degrees centigrade, in the presence of bicarbonate, they will not grow and they will be inactivated by specific antisera. These are the phenotypic markers. And then genotypic markers is detects a specific gene of the attenuated virus. So we will be seeing the viral gene into the vaccine. The doses, the IPV 4 doses are there, the OPV 5 doses, total 5 doses are there. IPV is given first 3 doses at 1 to 2 months gap, and the fourth booster is given after 6 to 12 months gap. Then the 5 OPV doses are given 0 doses at the birth, then first, second, and third doses are given at 6 week, 10 week, and 14 weeks of age, and then booster is given 16 to 24 months of the age. Other consideration of the two vaccines. This chart explains the differences as well as the basic characters of the vaccine. Safety. The injectable polio vaccine is relatively safer than OPV. The oral polio vaccine is also safe except in immunocompromised patients, pregnancy, or old age, where it can lead to some vaccine virus poliomyelitis. Efficacy. The injectable vaccine is 80 to 90% effective, efficacious by full course of IPV. Immune response is slower than OPV. Here in OPV, oral vaccine, there is 90 to 100% efficacy is achieved by even by 1 or 2 doses of OPV. But the efficacy decreases by interference by other viruses, diarrheal diseases, or breastfeeding. So if the child is breastfeeding, if you give the vaccine, it will be less efficacious. Then economy. The IPV is relatively expensive, while the OPV is economical. Duration of protection, short, need booster doses periodically. The protection duration is lasting longer. In epidemics, IPV can precipitate paralysis, while the OPV can be used safely. Herd immunity, a very important aspect, is not provided by the injectable polio vaccine, while it is provided by the the OPV, which spreads feco-orally. The vaccine virus spreads feco-orally, and the vaccine virus replaces the wild virus. The local immunity is weakly stimulated, while in case of oral polio vaccine is strongly stimulated because of the formation of the IgA antibodies. IgA antibodies are the secretory antibodies present in the secretions, mucus of the mucous membrane. The injectable vaccine can only prevent paralysis, while the OPV prevents paralysis as well as intestinal reinfection. Storage condition, it is relatively stable and does not require stringent condition. While the storage of the oral polio vaccine is needed minus 20 degrees centigrade, and it is stabilized in magnesium chloride where the pH is kept below 7. The vaccine polio VAPP and VD, these are the polio because of the vaccine. There are zero chances of such polio in the oral injectable polio vaccine, and relatively more chances in the oral polio vaccine. VAPP or vaccine associated paralytic poliomyelitis is a is a oral polio vaccine like isolate, means the VAPP strains are OPV related, and they grow because of the genetic modification. So there is a lot many details, but it is not of much of your concern now. The vaccine rates and other details are there. Vaccine derived polioviruses. This is another variety of the virus generating from the oral polio vaccine. Uh, Lots of observation details are there, uh, which are not very, very relevant to be discussed here. Let us see the overall epidemiology of polio. The eradication business could be started, trial could be started, and success to a high extent is only possible because the character of this virus, man is the only known reservoir. Wherever things like this is there, the eradication can be planned, as was done in smallpox. Clinical and subclinical ratio is important. For every clinical case, there may be 1,000 children and 75 adults of subclinical cases. So, non-symptomatic, asymptomatic infection rate is quite high. There are no chronic carriers except immunodeficient individuals. That too are relative chronic carrier, not the absolute chronic carriers. The source of infection is stool or oropharyngeal secretions. Age, younger children and infants are more susceptible than adults. Period of communicability, shed in feces from 7 to 10 days before the onset of symptom and up to 2 to 3 weeks thereafter, sometime as long as 3 to 4 months. So they go on and they're shedding the virus in the feces. Another important topic, rather the most important in the polio, is polio eradication. We can say now that poliomyelitis is at the verge of eradication, and this is attributed to extensive immunization program conducted globally. The pulse polio immunization was initiated globally to eradicate poliomyelitis. In India, it was operational since 1995-96. Two rounds of pulse polio immunization, 6 weeks apart, are scheduled every year during the winter season, where all children under the age of 5 are vaccinated with OPV irrespective of their polio vaccination status. OPV, OPV vaccination status. This is the key of the pulse polio immunization program. If you get a short note, this is the core data which you have to write. PPI doses of OPV are considered as extra doses and they do not replace the OPV doses received under the routine national immunization schedule. So the routine immunization schedule doses have to be given, and in addition to that, OPV doses are to be given. AFP surveillance in this program, acute flaccid paralysis surveillance also has to be done. These are the details of the countries based on the polio transmission status. This is all, lots of the general knowledge issues there. You can remember only uh, that India and rest of the 194 countries are polio free. They have been declared by WHO as polio free countries. At risk countries, these are the at risk countries, and these are the countries where the outbreaks have been reported. And these are the countries where the uh, polio virus indigenous transmission is going on. Nigeria is recently declared polio free. End game strategic plan. This is important plan, important termination of the eradication program. GPEI, Global Polio Eradication Initiative, has initiated an end game strategic plan for polio eradication, which has four objectives: interruption of poliovirus transmission, strengthening immunization system by stepwise withdrawal of OPV along with switching over to IPV, implementing containment of polioviruses, and to certify the world as polio free by end of 2018. Legacy planning, the infrastructure, fund, manpower, knowledge and experience that has been created through the global polio program will be utilized to support. Though the eradication may not be achieved within the target timeline, which we can say now it has not been achieved, but it is expected that the world is soon going to achieve this milestone in the coming days. And right now we can say, except very few cases, the world is polio free. So, what is the take home message from this lecture? Polio is a dreadful disease otherwise, but by the global initiative for the polio eradication program, pulse polio immunization program, the polio is almost on the verge of eradication from the world. India already is declared eradicated the polio, and we hope all other countries will also soon get polio free. Afghanistan and Pakistan, these two countries are mainly countries where polio is still there. Otherwise, all other countries, they have eradicated polio, and this is a great crippling disease which has affected the mankind very much. Thank you very much.